So let's see where we are now. We did the Unity editor navigation, asset store, importing assets, materials, making prefabs, transform components, physics. Yeah, so let's do some keyframe animation. Very basic. So let me try to come up with which one we should do. So let's do something like this, right? So let's let me see if I move this. No. Yeah, so now how about like, so we did some physics and all the objects are just kind of like reacting on their own. But let's say we want some controlled interaction, like something like maybe, let's see why this isn't, yeah, it's reacting but not very great.
That's so cool.
So let's say, how about we want to do something like this. Now the reason why some of these aren't reacting as well as they should is, I think, because of these settings. But you know what, we could just ignore that for now. Let me think what would be a cool little interaction for us to do. Let's look back at the asset store real quick. Let's try to, and let me look for it. You guys don't have to, and then I'll just tell you what to search. But let's think of like a cool little interaction that we can do. You have to be in play mode if you want to do all the physics. Like, so in play mode, you paste them, and then they'll just kind of start like.
So you go in this physics, which you follow.
No, you gotta play.
Every time you press play, everything disappears.
No, go to play. Oh, because your camera.
Oh.
Go to your main camera.
Oh yeah, you have to take.
Go to main camera.
Can't touch
So
it.
tell them to do this. Take the game tab right there and pull it there. Yeah. So now I won't do that. Now if you press play, you'll see both now.
Yeah, we also moved the camera to
Well, first of all, don't move around just by the middle like that. Move around by the axes. It's more precise. And then you can also rotate it. So you probably want to rotate it to the other direction. Yeah.
Oh,
This looks kind of cute.
okay. Never drag the camera around.
You can drag it around. I'm just saying, like, you just get used to not dragging by that middle, because then it drags it in every direction. You don't really have control.
How do you censor the camera so it's like kind of level playing field? Is that just means messing up too much?
Yeah, you can do that, or you can also tweak the numbers there if you want to round them off. But it's really just kind of a matter of how you want it.
And then when you press play,
All right, I figured it out. How about this, right? So let's do. So did we do our barrels all convex? Does everyone have this? When they click their barrel, does it look like that? Does it have like the green? It has the rigid body on it. What about your barrels?
I have to do this thing 3 times. Now the barrel's gone.
Yeah, so just pull the barrel from the barrel folder and prefabs. And for those of you that do have your barrels, I want you to kind of just stack some barrels up here on the side.
Rotate.
Stack them up like kind of like bowling pins. Or you know what? Maybe just actually stack them up like so, something similar.
右键，右键往前，右键，按钮。
Yeah, something like that. If I press play, just make sure that they don't that they stay stable.
How do you get the? There's nothing there.
So, let me get you up to speed
I
on that.
didn't do the rigid body.
Oh,
I
okay.
got him. Just set up your barrels like
Oh.
that. So yeah, you can add the rigid body by. So you just press A if you want to go in that. So hold right click, yeah, do straight. Now if you get that cutting, that's because like sometimes the camera might not be centered. So you can center what you're selected on by pressing F, or you could just double click it, and now you're good there. So yeah, so you need to add first a component, physics, rigid body. Yep, and then again, because it doesn't have a collider, a component, physics, mesh collider. Yep, and make it convex to make it have that. There you go. Now you're good. So now just rotate it so it's kind of standing upright. So make sure you grab it by the red. Yeah, so you might want to undo. Yeah, and just you could get closer to it. So just hold right click and just a little bit. Yeah, and just grab by the red. So not that just yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just you make sure that you just kind of and now you might wanna, because I think it's like a little kind of slanted. So I think over here, just make it 90, negative 90, yeah. And then make these 0, 0. Yeah, so go like, yeah. And then just push it down to the floor, just not in it, just kind of right on it. Yeah. And then just kind of try to clone around like I did there.
Probably how do you line them up?
I just just kind of eye it up.
You can't just drag. I mean, you just do that.
Oh, but I mean, you're working with a little bit of a weird camera angle there, so you can't really see. I would recommend just hold right click and just navigate your way to a place where you can see it. So WASD, so just.
As long as it's 90, it's standing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, 'cause I feel like it's not standing.
Whenever you're playing, then it isn't.
It is not.
Is it not?
It's floating.
Oh no, that's fine. It's just not. It's a little bit above the ground, but it's
Why is
it's not slanted. I think. Can you just click the plane? I just want to see. Curious. The plane's fine. Yeah, it's good. You still have another one in there.
Just drag this one.
You have a few of them now, and then you have another one there.
Yeah, please tell.
Oh, I can kind of see it.
Why are you copying this so many times?
Yeah, something like that. So again, practice makes perfect. It's not, you don't have to get them fully in, because sometimes if they actually intersect, the physics might just kind of blow it up. But we'll see what happens. Just a little bit, yeah. Light touch. Yeah, and just if you press play, let's just see what happens. Just press play. It's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, so it's fine. I think it's your camera that's the one that's slanted here. That's why maybe it was.
Tricks on, and then how they not make everything disappear.
Oh, it's not gonna disappear. It's not. Yeah, don't worry. Don't be paranoid
I
about
had
it.
it 3 times.
So it only disappears if you do something in here. You do this stuff, and then you get it.
Oh, okay.
Because you're working in edit mode, and then yeah.
So when I just press play,
It'll just simulate it, and then when you unpress play, it'll just go back to the way it was.
unpress just this.
Yeah,
Okay, just making sure.
Yep. So what we're gonna do is, now obviously we could take like one of these spheres, for example, and you don't have to follow what I'm doing right now, but I guess just get your sphere in position to knock these over. So obviously we could just press play and I'd drag our sphere, right, and do this. We could just do that, right? But maybe we don't, maybe you're not going to have the luxury to use your mouse to do this. So we wanna kind of program that in a way, and we're not going to use it with script. We're just going to do it with an animation. So we're going to animate the sphere into these barrels, and then when you press play, it'll just do that motion, basically.
My barrels fall over anyways when I hit play.
So it's probably because they are not.
Not lined up.
So let's see. So check from the side. It's always good to check. Because see, you don't know when you're looking like from there, so you should just kind of line yourself up to a little bit more. Let's see if you got like.
No, it's
I think he's gonna
Hold.
hold.
Oh, you have to hold in the viewport. That's the only trick with your mouse. See, once it's got the eye icon, then you're in. Yeah, you see what's going on over there? Yeah, so I would say just hold right click and just really look at them.
Okay.
So hold right click, and turn your eyes that way. Just so you can really look at them and then get closer. So hold right click and get closer. So see, it's really hard even for me to tell when you're looking at it, from such a kind of awkward angle. So just kind of try to reposition yourself from a few more angles and just make sure that it's good, See, because like you might think that you were stacking them right from that one angle, but then you go to another angle and you can see that it's not quite there. But those should actually stand, I think. Just press play. I just want to see. Yeah. Oh, that last one. Yeah, I think that one might have been too far forward or something. But you don't know from this angle, so you have to go from the side again. And then turn yourself. Yeah, you see how far out it is?
Yeah.
So you left click it. Yeah, you can't, you gotta turn the camera. Yep. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to teach you a new trick. And it's called the animation window. So over here top at window, there's a bunch of things here. This is basically where these come from, these windows. Now notice like everything here is rearrangeable. Like I said, you can even pull it out and put it on another window, whatever. You could arrange your whole Unity editor just the way you like it. Say you lost the scene view somehow, and you're like, oh my god, I can't work on my project anymore. You can just go to Window and Scene, and it'll just open it back up for you. See that? So just so you know, all your windows are always up here in Window. We're going to open a new window, and the new window is called Animation. It's right here. And it should open up a timeline like that. So,
Sorry.
window, animation. Don't be confused by so not animator, but animation. Animator is something else. We'll do that next. Okay. So everyone's got this open. So select your sphere that you want to go into your barrels. Has everyone got that? Got this sphere selected? Yep, got it?
Yep.
Okay, so you see here, it says, to begin animating sphere, create an animator and an animation clip. So you just click create right there. So it'll give you this create new animation window and just save it, like kind of a bowling ball or animation or whatever you want to call it.
Do these files save onto your desktop? Or
No, they all save in that same folder. It's usually in documents, in my documents, and then your project name. That's where the default is. Like a quick way to find a folder is just to right click on an asset and show in Explorer, and then it'll show you where all the things are. So now that you created that, it'll kind of give you this timeline. And if you scroll down your sphere or scroll up, you'll see that now the sphere has an animator. So it just did that for you automatically. When you wanted to work on animation, Unity created an animator component on the sphere and everything. Now, if you click away from the sphere, you'll notice that this again says to begin animating cube or whatever. You don't want that. Just as long as you know, like the animator, the animation is working on what you specifically have selected right now. So now we're going to do something that maybe some of you are familiar with, which is keyframes. So over here, you see this little record icon? I just want to click that to signify that I am now recording some actions. So we need to pick our first starting position for the sphere. So just kind of move it. Maybe if you already got it where you want it, just nudge it a little bit. But just move it somewhere, and then you'll notice that a little keyframe gets created down here, meaning that that's kind of like the starting position. Now I want you to take this timeline and just move it by where the numbers are. You see that? And pull it a little bit like that. And now take your sphere and move it to its final position, like in these barrels or something like that. Now if you scrub through this timeline, you see that? It saved the animation, exactly how you keyframed it. Now you can keyframe more complex movements. You can go left, right. You can even scale the keyframe. So how about we do that? So that's something fun, right? So back to our first position here. So move the timeline all the way to the beginning. And I want to set the beginning scale. Now this is important. When you're doing keyframes, everything that you want to animate, you have to do its initial animation state first, its initial keyframe. So if you want to scale, you go back to 0 and you just scale it just a nudge, and then you'll see that a third keyframe gets put there. See, now we have position and scale are being animated.
Okay.
Yeah, so just use the scale tool and just scale it just a tiny bit, but make sure you scale it here at the beginning of the timeline. Just a tiny bit. Just scale it, just like literally just a smidgen. And then move it over here to our final position, right? And scale it up like that. And then move it up above a little bit, because since it's scaling, it's going to start intersecting the ground. So maybe we want it something like so. Now if I scrub through this animation, notice what happens. See that? So it's animating the position and the scale of the object.
So you're supposed to move it like. So as you move the ball forward, and then you make this.
You have to make sure that you're scrubbing through your timeline. So your initial time is like the starting position.
Right.
Then you scrub the timeline a little bit, and then you move it to its end position, basically.
Right now, the first player.
Yeah, it works. Yes, if you press play, if you already did that, it should just work. See? But it'll just keep replaying it. And it's going really fast. Because the timeline is usually kind of set to like a really low setting. I feel like there's a better way to do this, but I feel like if you change the samples, let me see if that works. Yeah. So you see how it says samples 60?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you make the samples to like 10 or something like that,
10 per minute?
10 per second, I think, or something like that, then it'll slow it down to a more moderate amount.
How do you slow that?
Right here in the animation, you see samples. It's like something very high, like 60. So just make it smaller, and then the time scale will change. You can also scroll out of this like that, and then you could move this somewhere else. You know what I mean?
It didn't change my
Speed?
speed, yeah.
Did you make the samples like 10?
Yeah. Maybe I just didn't hear it. There we go. Okay.
Good, right?
Yeah. Oh, it kind of spins?
Yeah, the spin happens because of the scale, I think, and because of the movement up. Oh, actually no. I'll tell you why the spin happens. Because it has a physics object on it. So even though you're
That's
pulling
right.
it and it's kind of dragging along the ground, and it does that. There's a way to freeze that. If you don't want it to do that, and the way that you freeze that rotation, if you're getting that, is you kind of click the sphere. And where it says rigid body, in the rigid body settings, you should see a little drop down that says constraints in the rigid body. And it says freeze position, freeze rotation. You probably want freeze rotation on all of them. And then it shouldn't do that anymore. Yeah, you see that? Now it's not rotating anymore. So you have full control, basically. You just know where all the settings are.
Yeah, there's control for everything, you just have to know where.
Pretty much, yeah. So there's a reason always why it's rotating like that. It's because it's a physics object.
Cool.
And how would you get it to, like, you know how when you roll a ball, it rolls like this way or backwards? How do you get that effect to go into?
Into this, for example, or what?
Like, so you know how, like, when you roll a ball, there's movement.
Yeah. So this one right now, since we're animating it, and it has physics, it already has a little bit of a rolling. It might not be rolling in the right direction. Wait. What happened? But the way that you do the rolling stuff is when you're actually working with physics. So in this instance, I don't have a script written to move by physics values. But let me just give you an example. So right here, you see how this, take this sphere for example, and if this sphere pushes it, it'll roll in that direction. You get it? So if you wanted to do that like programmatically, like you roll a ball example in Unity tutorials, for example, you would do something based on an input, accelerate forward, and then it would automatically start to kind of roll in that direction. It also depends on the object. Right now we're just using spheres and primitives, but different physics objects react differently, and they're different shapes. But you'll notice it'll just kind of keep looping it. If you don't want it to loop, there is another trick to do that, and I believe it's here. Yeah, so if you don't want it to loop, here's what you do, right? So you click that sphere that you're animating, scroll down until you find the animator component. What's up? Oh, the window? You might have closed it. Just window, animation, yeah. Just somewhere in the middle. Yeah. Yeah. Just click the sphere. You have to click the sphere to work with it. Yep. So if you don't want it to loop, in Animator, you see there's a little controller right there, sphere, that was just automatically created for us. If you double click that, it'll open the animator, which is what we're gonna do next. But I just wanna show you this quick trick how to make it not loop. So the animator is basically the all-in-one animation state solution. So like in here you can put hundreds, thousands of animations and make sure that they play based on some conditions and stuff like that. In this case, we only have one animation, and you see it starts from entry, which means like when the game starts, and it just goes to that animation right away. If you click that animation right here, I think if you double click it, see that? It says loop time right there. Just uncheck that, and then it won't loop. So now if you press play, it'll just go there. Oh, mine stopped prematurely. That's weird. Huh.
No, double click the script. No, double click the script. Yeah. Like this. Loop. Double tap. Loop tap.
So,
See.
If it stops prematurely or something, you might just have to tweak the timeline a little bit. But that's pretty much it for just like a basic kind of keyframed animation. So notice still we haven't done like a single script yet to get any of this going.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what if you wanted to roll the ball, you hit the barrels, but you didn't want it to stop at the last keyframe. You wanted to just keep rolling as fast as you normally take it.
Yeah, I mean you would probably just
Move it off the phone.
you keep keyframing. You can keep. I just made another keyframe right here after it, and I scale it down. Let's say it just like decides to not be so big after it's done. So it'll do that. It'll scale up. It'll hit them, and it'll scale back down. And it'll just like stop right there.
But it's aiming for that. It's not random though.
So it's not because you're controlling it with an animation right now. That's the reason.
So we'll do a script then later to have like.
So if you wanted to have like it would be a script, yeah, and you would just set the velocity and then it will kind of take it from there.
Okay.
This is full control mode where you're literally telling it exactly where it'll go.
Right.
So now once we're a little comfortable with this stuff, you can totally just close this animation window. Not gonna need that right now. And now what I want you to do, and this is going to be pretty fun, right, is we're going to do some basic character animation. So now here, you can be a little creative. So we're going to go on Mixamo.com. And if you don't already have an Adobe account, sign up for one and log into Mixamo. If you do have an Adobe account, just go to Mixamo.com and just sign in. Again, if you don't, just sign up right there. And let me know when everyone's in here, and I'll let you know what to do next.
do you have to download this?
Nope. Everyone logged in? Yep. Yep. No? Still making an account? I'll give it a few more minutes.
Okay.
Are you?
Yep. Okay. So when you're in here, I want you to click on store. And you should see something like this. So I want you to click here on characters. And I want you to find a character that you like. Once you find a character that you like, just click him or her or it. What the hell is this guy? Uriel A. Plotexia.
These are all free, right?
Yep. They have a great rigging tool too. If you make your own characters, you can just put them up in T-pose and it'll rig them automatically for you. Yeah, so just whenever you have your character picked, let me know. You can take your time, just look through whatever you think is cool. We have time today.
Takes a while to fill in the colors.
Hmm?
Takes a while to fill in the start like all white.
Oh, I think that's that just might be how it is though.
No.
Oh.
It's like loading.
Possibly.
Wait. It's really slow. Huh?
Might be because you're on Internet Explorer. So yeah, whenever you have that character, click right there next to it says Find Animations. Okay, so I want you to find like a cool dance animation. Click the animation and then you should see your character doing it.
And you just need a cap. It's like any other website.
pretty funny, right? I know this is one of my favorite things.
So you use this to make a movie video?
Yeah. Yeah, so when you have a nice dance animation on them selected, click this add to pack button right here, which adds it to the character. It should just say, once you have the animation selected, add to pack, and then add to my assets. Boom. Then it should say view download, so click that. It'll take you to this page right here, and then you click Q download, and then in the settings you want to do FBX for Unity in the FBX format. Everything else is fine. You can do 60 frames a second if you want, but it's up to you. And then Q download, and then it'll take a sec. Once it's done, just download it. Should download a zip file. Once you have the zip file, just take it, unzip it somewhere on your desktop or wherever you like. And in there you should get two files. One should be the character and one should be the character's animation. When you have that, take it, pull both of those into your project. It's okay, sometimes it does that. Mix them up. Yeah, unzip it. It's still processing?
This is just extract.
Just give it a sec. Did you put more than one animation on it?
No, just one.
No, I'm asking her. Sometimes it does that. I don't know why. It's just their cloud service.
It's not a zip file. It's an FBX file.
You just got one FBX file?
No, two.
Yeah. So there's one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In the zip file, there are two FBX files.
Is this supposed to look like this?
Yeah. So take those two files and unzip them, like pull them out, and just on the desktop or wherever, and then put them into Unity once you have them out. Did it finish? Yeah. Sometimes it takes a few minutes extra.
And then you drag them the same place, right?
Into the project, yep.
Wait, no, I think I only have one.
Oh yeah. You should let me go back to Mixamo. Yes, you got only the animation.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if I did that. So try again. No, not like that. You have to go back. No, you have to do it again. You have to go to store, characters, select the guy you wanted. Just the pages.
Oh, I see.
And then find animations. Add to pack. Yep, then add to my assets. then view download.
For that,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely just using Internet Explorer. Yeah, and then Q download. And then FBX for Unity. Make sure you have up here. No, that's what you did wrong. FBX for Unity, yeah.
Okay.
The other one would have worked too, you know, but this is the best way to do it. And then Q download.
Post T-pose?
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. So now that should be 2 files.
Okay, cool.
So everyone got that?
I only have one file.
So that's just the yeah, it's the in progress, which should have the hip hop dancing with it, and then yeah, it's all good if you download.
Is this supposed to move?
Yeah, see, because this one is just an animation. That's an animation pack. So it's the character and the animation. Yeah.
So we have the character. There's a play button here.
What are you looking for? Oh no, that's not a play button. That's just like an expand the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just put it in.
No, you just leave it there for now. Just the character here.
And can you apply the whole physics thing to him too?
Well, this time we won't, because we actually want him to animate with the dance animation. But you'll see how he can react, like other things can react to him. So like he could,
So if I were to roll the ball to,
he'll like bounce off him. Yeah.
it'll bounce off.
Yeah. It won't bounce him down unless you make it like that. But that could be a weird effect sometimes.
So in progress means it's still downloading?
No, it's ready. It says the download button right there.
Okay.
In progress is just the name of your character is in progress.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they mean by that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Just download.
I thought I downloaded it.
Yeah, I think it's coming up down there. It's your window. See, you just gotta move the Explorer up. See that?
Oh, okay.
That's where it should.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the zip file, and then unzip that, and there should be 2 files in there.
Then I can just drag and drop those into my assets. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Into project. Yep.
Okay, it chose using the texture as a normal map. Oh, I dragged it on something.
It's fine if it says something like that. Yeah, it's fixed now, and it'll do it automatically again. Yeah, just I think you have your game view. You want to pull that like down here. Yeah, better. And then you navigate on the top thing.
What's that?
This is where you navigate the scene. Yeah, so just your prisoner. Then you can just drag him into your scene.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. And then, what are these? What's that?
I think that's the prisoner's like materials that came
Oh, okay.
once it got imported automatically.
And this is the animation?
Yeah.
Did you drag that onto him?
No, not
Don't
yet.
do anything with it?
No, not yet. All right, so everyone's got this. Everyone got their character,
Mhm.
and they're seeing what happened. Yours is still processing.
Yeah.
So this part is really simple. but it just takes a few steps. So now what you need to do in your project here, you need to right click, create animator controller. It's right like in the middle bottom here.
Would you right click?
Just in the project here, right click. Whenever you want to create a material or something like that, it's usually here in the project. Create animator controller. So just keep that in mind that this is like where your assets are, like all the stuff that your project is made of. So whenever you need a new asset or something, it usually happens right click there, import, or create a new thing, stuff like that. So yeah, just name that to whatever, dance, or it doesn't matter. Even the default thing is fine. So now if you double click that animator controller we just created, which looks like that, it'll open up that window. Remember that we played with just a little bit earlier? The animator. So that's where like different states of animations go. In this case, we're just going to have one state, which is the dance. So here's how you get that in there, right? So all you have to do, I think you could literally drag this whole thing in here. And it just works like that. Sometimes there might be more than one animation, so you'll find them in here, and it's that little play icon. That's the actual animation inside the object. So if an object, because sometimes in Unity, depends on your 3D artist, depends on your assets. Sometimes there will be multiple animations in here.
Are you supposed to drag the entire?
You should be able to drag that cube, the one with the animation. One is a character, and one is the animation. No, not the other one. The other one that came with it, that blue one. No, that one below it. That's all part of that one. So you have it expanded. So just close it. You see that little arrow right next to it there? Yeah, that. See? That's all part of that one object. You get it? Yeah. Yep. That thing is the animation. Yeah. And then if it doesn't have a name, it's just because that's where the animation came. You could rename it up here, like when you click it. You could just, the renaming is right here. Because I saw yours was blank. Mine says robot hip hop dance. And then you could double click that, and it'll show you the animation properties in here. We don't care about any of these yet. All you want is loop time right here, checked, and apply at the bottom. Everyone got that? Okay, now this is the important part. So now that animation controller we created, we have to put it on our character. So select your character, and over here, you see where it says controller? This is none. It means it has no animation controller right now. Just up here it says, you see that? When you click the character, click scene. Yeah. So click the character, and then you see where it says animator none. Oh no! If you don't, sorry about that.
Controller?
Yeah, sometimes controller. Sometimes if you click really deep in the character, you'll start to pull up components of the character, like your skin or whatever. You can just click the top level of the object, which is up here in the hierarchy. You'll find your character is called whatever it's called. Yeah, you got it. See, it's selected. I'm just saying sometimes if you click in it, you might select something inside the character, you know what I mean? And then that won't show. So yeah, up here it says animator controller none. Pull that animation controller we just created into where it says none. Just pull it in there. So remember this thing that we made?
Yeah.
So where's that file that you just created? So it's that thing right there. Yeah. So you want to take that and pull it where it says none there. None. None. Yeah. Right there. It's a controller. That's a controller. So now you're telling that thing has that controller. Okay. So now whenever you want to change settings for that character's animation, it's in there, in that thing. You get it? So then in there you can start changing the animations, the speed.
Else.
Yep. Now if you press play, it should just work. There he goes.
Oh.
Alongside everything else.
That's so
Oh,
weird.
he has an effect on the things around it?
Not yet.
Because when he was dancing, it kind of looked like it budged the barrel. Or maybe not.
No, not yet. I don't think we put a collider on him yet.
Okay.
So if you want him to have an effect on the environment, you could just select your character and add like a capsule collider. Oh no, a capsule collider is too complicated right now. Like a box collider or something. Now you'll notice if I put a box collider, you see how it kind of, if you look up here, you see where the collider is? It's like on the feet, like down here, which sometimes it just does that. It doesn't know the shape of your object. So you should tweak the settings, like the center of it, and the size, make it a little smaller.
You can do a mesh collider?
It's a little bit more difficult for something like a character, and I wouldn't recommend it because they're so complex.
Okay.
But yeah, say this kind of cube collider. Let me just see if that actually works. So now he's gonna move around. Yeah, and I think he is affecting things. So he's gonna go. Come on, go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Ah. Well, I'm gonna just put my character right in front of the barrels. And then the sphere that I was working with earlier, I'm gonna take its animation and loop it again. So that this time it'll keep trying to crash through the character or something like that. I'm not sure if that'll work. It just goes through because it's an animation.
Can you use fractional world units? Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the collider doesn't move with him? The collider doesn't move with him?
That's the problem, right? So here's the reason why it doesn't. Because if you open a character, so now let me show you like another cool thing. So let's say we want to put something in the character's hand, for example, like like one of these spheres, or I don't know. Let's do something else. Let's do like I want to make like a cube, and I'm gonna make it like really thin, something like a sword, something like that.
Okay.
Just gonna make like a fake looking sword, like I don't know. Right. Now, I'm going to teach you a concept that I didn't teach you yet, right? It's called parenting. So, I'm going to take this cube, this top cube, and I'm going to call it sword. And now this bottom cube, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it inside the sword, and now see how it becomes a child object of that. And I'm just going to call this hilt. So now, any child, if I pull the parent, it pulls the hilt with it now, because it's inside of it. So it's just your typical parent-childing objects. It's basically anything that's inside it, it starts to take its rotation and its position and everything. They become practically one object. And then you could take this and make it a prefab, for example. And now you have a sword prefab. This is an example. So let's take this sword now, and I'm going to kind of drag it into his hand. Like that. maybe it's a little bit big, but yeah. So if I just drag it into his hand right now and I press play, it would, you know, just stay in that space in the air because it's not parented to his hand yet. Now, let me show you where that parenting actually happens, and that's the same problem with our collider. You said the collider doesn't move with the character because the top level of the character is actually just like a container object. It's what's inside of it, where it says hips. That's actually where the magic happens. So now, like if you want to try this, this is pretty fun. So if you just open your character object, like that little arrow right there, go into hips, go into spine, and you'll see like 3 spines in there or something like that. Spine 1, spine 2. Let's say I grab spine 1, and now look, if I rotate it, look at this. See? So you're actually rotating the bones of the character. That's where the actual stuff is parented to what it is. Right? So I'm specifically gonna go down the hierarchy to the right shoulder, to the right arm, to the right forearm, to the right hand. There it is. And you even got fingers. Look at this. See? It even goes down to fingers. Even the other part of finger. Even like the tip of the finger.
Wow.
So everything's boned. But I just want the hand. So I'm gonna take that sword and put it inside the hand, parent it to the hand, right there. And the way you parent it, you just literally just drag it in there, and now see, now it's in this whole hierarchy. Now if I press play, he'll dance around with the sword. Rotation might be a little bit off. So you have to like, I don't know, maybe like rotate it like this. Oops. The other things you can do too is not only like are these just, you know, pivots. They're actually, look at that, they're fully scalable. Look at that. And you can do things like this through code, for example. Like say you get a power up, head increases, its head size increases. I don't know. I mean, it's really up to you, like how you do things. But basically those pivots and those bones, see, it doesn't stay like that because it's using an animator, and that dance animator, the bone isn't scaled in it.
So for that collider, I want to...
Yeah, so you want to probably put that on the hips.
Hips.
I think, yeah.
Where is it?
It's just inside the character.
I mean, where's the collider?
Oh, it doesn't have one. You have to make one. So you have to go into component.
Yeah.
So once you have the hips selected, component, physics,
Oh, okay. So
or you can click add component over here, either way, and then just start typing box collider or something like that.
I have the boss collider, but I don't have it in the hips.
I mean, it's all around it. Oh no, see, that's on the top level. So you want to right click that and remove it, and now go to hips. And put one there, so you can do it from there too. It's quicker. And just type box, start typing box.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then tweak the size and all that. Now it should follow it around, so it will actually react and as expected.
Awesome. To get the characters to move again, is it through a component? No. Oh, you have to drag the other.
See?
See?
Yeah, yeah.
It's moving again.
Yep. That's really cool.
How do you get the animation to move again? Is it?
I completely forgot. Okay, that's why I'm screen recording.
So you create animator controller.
Yes. Call it whatever you want. Double click it. And then pull your animation in there. Somewhere. Yeah. Now go back to the scene. Select your character. And pull that animator. No, not that. What you just created. Pull it in there.
None.
Yep. And now it's good to go. Now just press play. So you might want to do the same thing with the game view and just put it like at the bottom so it doesn't keep switching.
So how do you do like components? And then
Unpress play. Pull the game view like down here. Just did the game. Just pull the tab down here.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So now that it doesn't switch, you can just have both of them when you press play. The reason they stop is because go back to the animator again. So you have the animator right here too.
Yeah.
Double click it and then
Yeah.
scroll down to loop time. Yeah, and go down to apply. And now it'll loop.
Which just so I remember, so
Yeah.
you down the character, right? You drag the character in, and then how do you get to the animation?
Yeah,
so
that.
just to file, and then you click it.
Double click it.
Double click it. Oh, and then you drag the animation file.
Yeah, and that would usually be the animation file. See, the animation file, if you look at the name of it, it's usually the name of the character at, and then like the animation, or something like that.
And if you want to preview this in via the headset, how would you do it?
So we're not doing like Vive for example now. If you were, you could just plug it in and just press play and just put it on. Since we're going to be doing mobile VR, there's some like platform specific settings that we have to set, and that's actually what I'm going to do next. Is I'm going to get you guys prepared for tomorrow so that we could start exporting some of this stuff.
It's the same thing for Oculus, or no?
Yeah, it's just, if you have it plugged in. The thing is, it's like your laptop, for example, wouldn't be able to support Vive or Oculus because they just bumped up the settings to crazy. But yeah, I mean, your phone, are you a iPhone Android user?
No, yeah, I have a computer at home that runs Oculus.
No, I'm talking about for the mobile VR. So here's the thing, for iOS, you need to have a Mac computer to export to iOS. PCs can only export to Android when it comes to mobile, and Windows Phone and all the other stuff. But yeah, it's just an Apple requirement that you have to have an Apple computer to develop with to deploy on it. Are you an Android or iPhone user?
I have an iPhone.
You have an iPhone as well.
I have a Mac at home. Should I put you on there?
What is it? What version of Mac OS is it?
I just actually was upgrading it when I left.
Is it like one of the more recent ones?
I
Like,
never use it.
it's like
But
I'm trying to see.
I literally upgraded.
Does it have as long as it has Xcode, as long as it can run Xcode. Yeah. So, but don't fear. We can test with some Android devices for your iPhones.
If I have a phone, as long as it's Android, it's fine.
If it's Android, yeah, then you can build for it with your Windows machine.
I'm just doing a phone.
Okay, yeah, do that. So for tomorrow, bring your Android if you have one. If you don't, you can just use mine for in class. Just see how to build with it. For you, since you have everything you need to deploy on that, I'd like you to download Xcode from the Apple Store or whatever it's called. Just check.
So if you want to create something for both Android and iPhone, you have to create it on both platforms?
You could create it on one computer. It's just when you're ready to build, you have to build it on a Mac to test on iPhone. That's how they do it.
Yeah, I like
Okay, and set up your Apple developer account.
Oh.
So it's just like it's free. It's somewhere on their platform. I'm not sure where exactly. But yeah, let's just for just a quick test for you. Can you unpress play for me real quick? And now I want you all to just pay attention here, but you don't have to click this. So when you want to build your project, you do it here. You go to File, and it says Build Settings over here, and you'll see all the platforms that are supported by Unity: PlayStation 4, Xbox One, WebGL even, all these different things. So for you, I want you to select iOS right here, and then click Switch Platform.
How do you get here?
So you go to File, Build Settings. That's the menu that lets you make the app, basically. When you're finished and you're ready to like test or publish or whatever, it's in here. And this is where all the platforms are.
Okay. I do iOS.
Yeah, so you select iOS.
Open download page.
Oh, so that means that you didn't install it when you installed Unity. So yeah, open the download page and just download that thing that it's letting you
Yeah.
install it. And yeah, for everyone else, so for you two, since you're going to be Android, I need you to download and install these two things. If you are interested, are you interested in developing for Android at all, or just iPhone? Okay, so you don't need to do this then. For you two, Google this for me: Java JDK. And the first result right here should show up. And this website looks redonkulous, but I'll tell you exactly what to click here. So this is one of the big things that I think is a problem with how they teach Unity and stuff. Like all this stuff, like no one would. Like, if you want to export to Android, good luck looking it up in all these places, because it's. But I've taught a lot of people how to do this, and it's like at the back of my mind. So yeah, just accept the license agreement. And select Windows 64.
Where do you accept it?
It's like a little button right there. It says accept.
Where?
I just accept it. So it's like right there, accept license agreement. Yeah, and then Windows 64. Click it, and it should download it for you. Yeah.
Is there nothing right now that could do both Android and iOS? Like, say if I were to make
That's as close as Unity does both.
both.
It just Apple doesn't let anyone develop for iOS unless they are running Mac OS. This is how it is. You can still I can export all the iOS code from my computer, but I just can't do anything with it. You know what I mean? Because it gives you an Xcode project from Unity, and then all you have to do is just press build on a Mac OS, and it builds it to iPhone. You get what I mean?
Okay.
So you can get the iOS code, you could like send it to yourself?
Basically, yeah.
And,
If you're working on your Windows machine, yeah,
okay.
exactly.
So you'd have to have Unity on the Mac.
You don't necessarily have to. If you just export from Unity all the stuff that iOS needs, Xcode project, then all you need is Xcode on your Mac. Open it, and then just connect your phone, make sure all the settings are ready, and then just go.
Cool, okay.
But yeah, I mean, this is as close as you will get to a complete multi-platform environment, and it really is multi-platform. If you just look at the list there, a few years ago that list was half. Unity has a really, really dedicated team to supporting all the newest platforms, and now HoloLens, Vive, Oculus, all the stuff that comes out, they have to have a Unity plugin, because everyone's a Unity developer nowadays. If you don't have a Unity plugin, no one's going to use your hardware.
Yeah.
So hardware manufacturers are now working directly with Unity and so you as a Unity developer have a lot of power, because you have a whole dedicated team of people in Europe doing all of the hardware stuff, making sure that all the stuff from Unity just exports like a dream, and it really does. So yeah, whenever you're done, downloading that iOS package and installing it, when you go in here and you switch platform, it'll take some time to re-import your whole project, prepare it for iOS, and then tomorrow hopefully we will do some more a little bit of scripting, and we'll try to build some stuff and actually make it VR for these goggles. I will have a pair of these for each of you to use in class. And yeah, if you have your own, feel free to bring them. These are pretty great. These are our company owned branded goggles. I like them because they're adjustable, so they work with an iPhone 6 or my giant Pixel phone or whatever. And even the depth is adjustable, so I think it even works with a tablet, kind of. I haven't tried it though, but yeah, everything's pretty adjustable. Let's see what, because we technically still have an hour today. Finished pretty quick. You guys are fast learners. Usually, people have like tons and tons of questions and they get left back a lot. See when I click the character, you see how many different keyframes and stuff there's in there?
Yeah.
So if we want to
Someone manually did all that?
I mean, kind of. Not necessarily manually. This is mocap. So it was actually an actor.
Oh, who moved? And
Yeah, and then the program did that.
Say, moving every limb is crazy.
Yeah. But the great thing is you can actually go in here and tweak some of these. It lets you do that. But it's so many that you wouldn't even know what to do with them.
So if you're creating a game, VR game, and you want to have, like, say you want to upload a character and assign that to your person, like.
What do you mean to your person?
So like, say it's a multiplayer game, so when someone else looks at you, you see that character.
Yeah, I mean, if you notice most Vive games and stuff, you're kind of a floating head. There's no body tracking yet. There's some approximated body trackings, and I made a framework called Kinect VR, which for mobile VR it lets you use the Kinect to use the skeleton of that in VR.
Okay.
So there's ways to do it, but yeah, I mean, it's all kind of a similar concept. Like you had this rigged animated character, but instead of playing back an animation like hip hop dance or whatever, you would be attaching the limbs to the controllers and the head. And then you saw how you could control the rotation of the individual limbs and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's basically that. Anyone have any questions or any requests or anything they'd want to try out? You said, like your suggestion earlier, you wanted to make the ball glow possibly or something like that. Let's do that. That's actually pretty fun. I just hope it's not too much for one day. I want everything to sink in. How about we do a quick review, and then we'll do everything. So here's the thing that Unity editor navigation. All right. So right click. Make sure that the mouse is actually in this 3D view, and you can see that it turns into an eye. That's when you know it's doing it. So the holding right click, you look around, and this WASD to move in and out, left and right.
Oh, there's also this button where you can just adjust the camera.
Yeah, there's a that's you have these as well here. There's a lot of different ways to navigate around the viewport. But me personally, I would just like you to get used to doing it like this first person style. It's definitely the fastest way to move around. Asset store, right? So it's a great place, has things for free, has things paid. If you want to just check the free things, make sure that your screen size is scaled enough. If it can't, you can always pull this tab out, this asset store tab, just pull it out, and then you can make it as big as you want it to be. And then when it's big enough, then you can get this sidebar over here with all the categories.
Question.
Sorry.
Oh.
Just by pulling the tab.
Also, I think for us, there's a little home, like a side, and the thing next to it is the menu. So you can find them.
This home sign? This thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you already have some assets.
No, but for me, like next to the home sign, there's like a few lines, and then I can find that
Oh.
far from that.
Well, maybe. Huh. Well, that's good. In any case, just so you know, this exists here, so all the categories are here.
Question.
Yes.
So last class, like the first time I went to the meetup, and I downloaded a few things, but now like, do you know how I can find them?
Yeah, they're usually right here in the downloads. Wait, what? Is it assets I gave, or is it from the asset store?
From the asset store.
Yeah, it's usually all the assets you ever got were in the downloads right here. When you click it, it should show up in there.
What about like the textures that you made before?
Which ones?
Like maybe like the mirror one, or
Um,
like from like another project.
from what I was doing, like
Yeah.
I don't remember where I had those.
No, I mean like already made it, but it's in another project. You know how to put it inside.
Yeah. So here's how you do that, right? So that's a good question. So there's something called Unity packages, right? So let's say, just as an example, I want you to open your prefabs folder, and you should have like a cube and a sphere in there, right? So let's say you want to export this sphere, give it to your friend, or put it in another project. Here's how you do that. You right click it, export package, and then it'll kind of give you this checklist of all the things that are part of that package, including the textures and stuff. If you have scripts in your project, just a note, it'll usually include all the scripts because it just doesn't want to break anything, just so you know, so you might need to uncheck them. But since we don't have any scripts, it's clean right now. And see, it has include dependencies. If that's unchecked, it'll only export the prefab, none of the materials, and that might not work. So include dependencies makes sure that everything's exported right. And then you just do export, and you save that file somewhere on your desktop or whatever. You call it, sphere package, sphere pack or whatever. You save that, and you get this Unity package. Then that Unity package, you open up the project that you want, and you just double click it, and see it says nothing to import because it's already in there. So what it does is it actually checks if there is a copy of that already in the project, and if there's a more recent one, it'll update it. If not, it'll say nothing to import, for example.
So, just for future use, I can just keep a folder on the desktop, maybe like of like all the frequent textures that I use.
Yeah.
Like whenever I want to use it, just double click it.
But you don't. You could if you want to sort them as packages for textures and stuff. I'd recommend you keep a folder of just the textures so you can actually see them.
Okay.
But if you just have I like to do that too. Like if you have like a helpful package that you just import for every project, yeah, totally. So yeah, that's done with Unity packages. So it zips it up for you, compress it, so you don't have to zip the Unity package. It's already like maximally compressed and everything. So it's just a really handy way to do that.
Just a final question. When you
Yeah.
download stuff off the asset store, how do you load them up into your scene? Or how do you get them?
So once you download it with the asset store, it should give you the import dialog.
Okay. It
Um,
shows up here.
It just shows up like a window, and it says like ready to import or whatever. So if you go to the asset store window, asset store, it won't let you do it like that. And so just go to downloads, just what you already had, the little download icon, yeah. So something like. So yeah, once they're done, it should automatically do it. But if it doesn't, then click the import button, and then it'll show that dialog, and it'll show you what to import. It's gonna be like a pop-up window, and the pop-up window will tell you to do that. Yeah. What else? So.
And then for these settings, do they stay here forever? So like you download different textures, and then I open a new page every time they'll be there, right?
Oh, what?
Like if I create a file for all the textures or like different characters, and then every time I start a new project.
No, this is for your current project. So this is like kind of like this is one project that we're working on right now. If you started a new project, it would be empty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would I get that working together?
So kind of like what we explained, either with Unity packages You can export literally the whole project as a Unity package and import it in another. Or you could find the folder and literally pull the individual textures or whatever you want from it. Because everything is stored as an actual folder.
And to make it more efficient, people would just usually save it as a scene and then just restart a new project with the different stuff and stuff.
Oh, if you're using the same barrels and the same characters and stuff, that's technically one project, and then you just make a new scene. If you want to rearrange things, test things out. The only time you really start a new project is when you're really working on a new project, completely different assets, like stuff like that. So importing assets, I showed you that there's you can drag and drop literally from the desktop or whatever, or you can right click and import new asset, for example. Now another thing I want to kind of show you guys that just comes standard with Unity is these things called the standard assets. So Unity kind of gives you a bunch of things already kind of for you to ready to roll. So I just want you to look at one of these. So if you right click import package over here, there's a bunch of things. There's 2D, cameras, characters, effects, environment. So I want you to import environment. So it's just right click import package environment. So those are all the packages that come with Unity, and then there's custom package, which is basically a Unity package like I just showed you earlier. But just import environment, it'll decompress it. This is preparing package, and then it'll give you that little pop-up window like that, and you want everything, so you just do import. And then it should put it in a folder called standard assets, like right there somewhere. You should make it. So this will import trees, skies. It's just some little test assets, rock textures, things like that. Water. They have a pretty good water asset here.
With the Java SE thing.
Finished? Good. The other thing, so for you guys, they're doing Java. They're doing Android. You have the JDK. The other thing I want you to Google is this, Android Studio. So just go to this Google page for Android Studio and just download and install it. And that's all you need to export to Android. There's a few more Unity settings that you have to set once everything's installed. But yeah, just download Android Studio, install it. And yeah.
And this is all for mobile, right?
Yep. So it's not just for mobile VR. You could technically make a mobile game or a mobile app or whatever, But it's so that you still have to have it set up to export to phone.
In order to do this on the iPhone, just to be clear, I have to use Mac.
Pretty much, yeah, to export to the Mac. You can still build it and export the project and give it to someone that has a Mac and they can build it technically. But it's not really a fast workflow. You can kind of should have it.
You can't just copy and paste and then take his Mac and just read it.
Yeah, you can. You can, yeah. So if you imported those standard assets, it should be a standard assets folder in here. Now just quick preview. If you go in there, then there's a folder called environment. Then there's a folder called water and water basic. So if you just look at just the regular water 4, prefabs. I know there's a bunch of subdirectories, but prefabs is usually the one that has the good shit. So look, if I just pull this water in, look at this water. Boom. Alright? So you have a fully animated, lit water.
Where do you find those again?
So it was that, did you import that package?
Yeah.
So it's in standard assets, then in environment, then there's a water folder there, and there's water 4, and then there's regular water.
So you drag and drop.
See, there's this water, and then there's that water. So it's usually in prefabs, like water 4, prefabs, and you just take one of those objects and just drag it in. So that's like the water thing they got, for example. Then another thing, yeah, I know it is.
You can look a pond using
Does water work
On mobile?
plane?
What?
Does it work as a plane?
So that's
You need a ground.
that's like the crazy water. I think the other water is more like a plane. The water, not water 4, but the water that's right next to it. Prefabs, and you have daytime and nighttime water. Those are like a straight plane. The other water has the whole displacement and like the waves, and that one's like the more intense water. That one is the reason it's called water 4 is because it came out with Unity 4.
So if you want to get it off of your scene, but you would just
Click it and delete it.
under inspector over here.
To delete it?
Yeah.
Just delete it from up here. So just scroll up. You probably want to just unpress play, honestly,
Oh,
because you're still in the play mode.
Okay.
Yeah, so just
Alright.
that whole object deleted. So you can right click it, delete it, or you can just press delete. Works too.
Oh, got it. Okay. Cool.
Yep. So but yeah, we'll get into more tweaking lighting and some of the cooler effects and like how to make a sky and stuff like that for tomorrow, which is going to be more of the music video stuff. So my goal is tomorrow to kind of again just kind of brush up a little bit of what we did today, and just do a few more of these arrangements. But then you'll all kind of find your own asset, your own character, your own song, and we'll make like a little music video out of it. So I'll show you how that's going to work, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll have time to export everything to our phones. If we don't, we'll find the time to do it. But yeah. So what else? Review.
There is a question. So I have the Mortain water in there, but it only takes up this area.
You probably want to scale it. So you probably just click the water simple, yeah, and then just scale it. Use the scale tool.
Oh.
Probably in all the directions.
Oh. Like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So does everyone remember how to make a prefab?
Yes.
Yeah.
You just drag it from the inspector into the assets. That's it. Like my character, for example. See, now my character has a sword too, so it's in there in the prefab. Transforms stuff. I feel like everyone knows what a transform is now, right? It's that X, Y, Z, rotation, scale, etc. Components. Components basically like those added extra behavioral objects that go onto objects. You can a collider is a component, a rigid body is a component, and so forth. Animator is a component, and so forth. So all of those kind of give the objects life. They give them certain characteristics. And a script is also a component. So when you write your own scripts, it acts as a component. So it could be combined with other components, and it could be attached to an object. So every script is attached to an object, usually in Unity.
If you were to make the water look more realistic in, say, like in this kind of plane, how would you? Is that just all like?
Well, I mean, are you trying to make it? What do you mean by more realistic? Like,
There's depth, like you don't see like the grass patches. Like it's,
you want it to be under the grass? Are you saying?
Oh
Or?
no, just like because you know how you can still see the grass.
Oh, because it's refractive, so it's technically it's seeing through it.
Okay, no.
There is a tweak. Like, you don't have to do the simple. You can put it back to the advanced, and yeah, and then just open the shade. Just open the material, and I think it's like the refraction color, make it black. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the refraction color is how much transparency it has, I believe. That's
Down. That's a
it's great, right? The asset store. Once you kind of know how to use it, it's super simple to kind of arrange your own scenes and
Once
to
you
make
make
cool
your
look.
own thing, you can sell it on the asset store too. Right?
Yeah, if you make your own 3D models or textures and stuff, yeah. Then physics, we're all kind of comfortable with that, like rigid bodies, and it's got to have the colliders. If you're using mesh colliders, it has to be convex if you want to really have the full physics. Keyframe animation. The most important part to remember about that is just when you have that window animation open, it's the object that you have selected. That's the object that you're animating, and you have to create right here where it says create an animation clip. So it'll like, and then it'll tell you to create the new animation clip. So every object technically has its own animation clip if that's how you would do it. And then the basic character animation. You know, if you're getting things off Mixamo, whatever, when you import them, the most important thing is that you have to create this thing called an animator controller, and then that's where all of these settings get tweaked, and you will learn how you can put multiple animations and make them do some other things. Yeah, you can make them, you know, you can kind of start linking things and assigning conditions and the fade between them, and it's pretty cool stuff.
We'll get into that later.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yep. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop this recording. Hopefully, this video isn't gonna be too filled with nothing, but the stuff that is. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time cutting it. I'm just gonna put it up and.